Hello everyone, this is the Historiographer. Today, we will be discovering the fascinating life and times of the Ottoman Empire's finest admiral, and one of, if not, history's greatest admirals, the man who saved tens of thousands of Muslim Andalusians from Spanish persecution and halted Catholic Habsburg aggression into North Africa, the man who won stunning victories against mighty fleets and transformed the Mediterranean Sea into an Ottoman lake. Meet Khayr-ed-Din Barbarossa. Khayr-ed-Din Barbarossa, as he would become known in his later years, was born as Khidr on the island of Lesbos, today's Greece, in 1476. His father was probably an Albanian cavalryman who was awarded a fiefdom in the island by Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, while his mother was a Greek native of the island. He had three elder brothers, Ishaq, Uruch, and Ilyas. His father purchased a boat via which they could sell their pottery throughout the Aegean Sea. His brother Uruch, who was a brilliant tradesman and seaman, sought to expand on his father's trading base from the Aegean Sea to the broader Mediterranean basin. Thus, Uruch and Ilyas set out on a trading endeavor to Tripoli and the Levant. While on their way, the trade ship of the brothers was attacked by the pirates of the infamous Knights Hospitalier, remnants since Crusader times, who made the island of Rhodos their base of operations, from which they would prey on Islamic trade ships in the eastern Mediterranean. In the brief raid, Ilyas was killed, while Uruch was taken into captivity. Upon hearing the news, Khidr was devastated. Nevertheless, Khidr helped liberate his brother Uruch from the hands of the Hospitalier after nearly 3 years of captivity. This experience changed the brothers, and Uruch traveled to the Mamluk Sultan of Egypt, offering him his services as a Rais, or captain. In 1503, and after some brief time in the services of the Mamluk Sultan, Uruch and Khidr traveled together to the Hafsid Sultan of Tunis, asking him to grant them docking rights in the port of La Goulette for their ships. To understand this crucial decision, we must take a step back and analyze the political situation in North Africa and in the broader Mediterranean. By 1415, Portugal had occupied the city of Ceuta from Morocco and fortified it, seeking to tap in on the crucial trade routes of West Africa and establish a base in North Africa. Similar efforts were undertaken in the Spanish Union, which controlled vast amounts of territory in the Mediterranean, such as the Balearic Islands, Sardinia, and the Kingdom of Naples in southern Italy. By 1492, the final Islamic stronghold in the Iberian Peninsula, the Emirate of Granada, fell to the Spaniards. That same year, thousands of Jews were expelled to North Africa and to the Ottoman Empire by the Alhambra decree. At the same time, the Muslim population living in Andalusia was suffering under the Spanish Inquisition, which was a brutal method of forcing Muslims and Jews to leave their faith and convert to Christianity through horrific methods such as torture. Spain was eyeing the North African coast, taking the cities of Melilla, Oran, and Algiers by the start of the 16th century. Its neighbor to the north, the Kingdom of France, was locked in its own dynastic feuds, and the Valois kings were focused on centralization efforts. Meanwhile, northern Italy was home to various squabbling Italian city-states, while the Pope controlled Rome and territories in Romania since the times of Charlemagne. By this time, an interesting rivalry was occurring between the two Italian maritime trading republics, the Republic of Genoa and the Republic of Venice. Both had overseas territories and conducted trade with the various Islamic territories, mainly with Egypt to acquire the highly sought-for Indian spices and silk in Europe. Speaking of Islamic territories, by the early 16th century, North Africa was home to the Marinid dynasty, which controlled the Sultanate of Morocco. The Wiccan Zionids, controlling the Emirate of Tlemcen and Algiers, and the Hafsid Sultan of Tunis, owning Tunis and parts of eastern Algeria and northern Libya. Egypt and the Levant was still under the rule of the ailing Mamluk Sultanate based in Cairo, while Anatolia and the Balkans were newly acquired by the rising Ottoman wave. The Aegean Sea harbored the notorious Knights Hospitalier, which were remnants of the last Crusaders expelled from the Levant. These so-called knights turned into piracy and caused havoc in the eastern Mediterranean on both Mamluk and Ottoman shipping from their base of operations on the island of Rhodes. These were the same pirates that had captured Khayr ad-Din's brother Oroch and executed his second brother Ilyas. Now that we have looked into the political situation, it is not hard to understand the motive behind the brothers Oroch and Khidr's journey to the Sultan of Tunis. In short, they wanted to act as a barrier and protect the Islamic inhabitants and cities of North Africa against the increasing incursions of the Christian powers and help the helpless sultanates and emirates of North Africa. In fact, here is an interesting quote from Barbarossa's own diaries. He told his brother Oroch when they arrived in Tunis, "If death is the end of each human being, let it be for the sake of Allah." Thus, from 1504 till 1510, Oroch and his brother Khidr started rescuing operations which saved tens of thousands of Andalusian Muslims from the brutality of the Spanish Inquisition. At this time, the Europeans took to calling Oroch Barbaros, meaning the one with the red beard. Given that all of the brothers had crimson facial hair, the nickname stuck and was even used by the Turks themselves in the form of Barbaros to refer to the brothers. In 1509, Ishaq, the eldest brother, also left the island of Lesbos and joined his brothers at La Goulette port in Tunis. In 1510, the three brothers raided Sicily and repulsed Spanish attacks on the cities of Béjaïa, Oran, and Algiers in the Algerian coast. In August 1511, they responded to the Spanish attacks by raiding the area around Calabria in southern Italy. In the autumn of 1512, the exiled Muslim ruler of Béjaïa asked the brothers to drive out the Spaniards, and during the battle, Oroch Reis lost his left arm. Later that same year, the brothers raided the coasts of Andalusia, landed at the island of Minorca, and captured the coastal castle, and then headed towards Liguria in Genoa, where they raided the hinterlands and captured 4 Genoese galleys. The Genoese sent a fleet to liberate their ships, but the brothers captured the flagship as well. After capturing a total of 23 ships in less than a month, the brothers sailed back to La Goulette, where they built 3 more galleots and a gunpowder production facility. In 1513, they launched several successful raids on Valencia, Alicante, and Malaga, capturing 5 ships in the process. From 1513 to 1514, the brothers engaged the Spanish fleet on several occasions and moved to their new base in Cherchell, just east of Spanish-occupied Algiers. In 1514, with 12 galleots and 1,000 Turks, they destroyed 2 Spanish fortresses at Béjaïa, and when another Spanish fleet arrived as reinforcements, they ambushed and crushed it. By now, Oroch Reis had realized that he could not take on the mighty Spanish Empire all by himself. Thus, he started to build favors with the Ottomans to enhance his diplomatic position and gain an edge over the Spanish Empire. In fact, in 1515, Oroch sent a precious gift to the Ottoman Sultan Selim I, who, in return, sent him 2 galleys and 2 swords encrusted with diamonds in return. In 1516, the 3 brothers finally succeeded in recapturing the city of Algiers from the Spaniards after a tense assault. This gave them unprecedented prestige and fame in the Muslim world, and with each victory, their prestige grew more and more. Eventually, the Barbarossas assumed full control over the city and the surrounding region. The Spanish exiled garrison of Algiers sought refuge on the island of Piñón in the Mediterranean, and asked Charles V, King of Spain and Holy Roman Emperor, to intervene. But the Spanish fleet, which had been sent by the Emperor, failed to expel the brothers from Algiers. After consolidating his power and being asked to become the ruler of the Emirate of Algiers by the elite of the city, Oruç sought to expand his territory inland to create a greater buffer zone into which they could possibly retreat in case of Spanish attack. For Oruç, the best protection against Spain was to join the Ottoman Empire, his homeland and Spain's main rival, which was a move he was planning on for years. For this, he had to relinquish his title of the ruler of Algiers to the Ottomans. He did this in 1570 and offered Algiers to the Ottoman Sultan Selim I. The Sultan, who had just conquered the Levant, the Hejaz, and Egypt from the dying Mamluk Sultanate and proclaimed himself Caliph of all Muslims, had by now become acquainted with the Barbarossas. Consequently, he accepted Algiers as an Ottoman Sanjak and appointed Oruç governor of Algiers and chief sea governor of the West Mediterranean. Most importantly, however, Sultan Selim promised to support the brothers with janissaries, which were elite Ottoman troops, galleys, cannons, and gunpowder. Oruç Reis now set his sight on the city of Tlemcen and succeeded in capturing it from the Spanish in 1517. However, he and his eldest brother, Ishaq, lost their lives in the defense of the city later that year after a Spanish counterattack. After the death of his brothers, Khidr Reis was now given the title of Beyler Bey by Sultan Selim I, and he inherited his brother's position, his name, Barbarossa, and his mission to save North Africa against the unrelenting waves of Catholic assaults. Stay tuned for part 2, where Barbarossa would lead actions and win battles such as the legendary Battle of Preveza, which would forever enshrine his name into the annals of history.